Finally, we get to see a little bit of this, and let's see who's on which side. We've got Epsilon sitting on the CT side, Valiance on the T side. And I'm actually looking forward to this one. So Hunter's the man a lot of people will be looking at.
Already though, spoiling how to predicted this one going forward. You can see already for Valiance, going for that slow, methodical style of CS already on the pistol round. Usually the pistol round's about those bursts, those fast set plays, and already holding off towards Banana, hoping that someone from Epsilon's going to be over peaking. And if you are actually calling for Valiance, you might be hoping for a slow, passive style of CS on your terrorist side. The reason being is we know the Robins, the Smooths, the Surreals, these players like to get aggressive. These players are going to go for the audacious pushes, and you want to be able to punish that.
Valiance did take good banana control. But the problem is that Smooth is walking out late, so he's already got the information here that no one's there right now. So they can cheat that player back over towards CT Arch, but they won't be there in time if it's a quick hit. We've got to see when they actually put these smokes and molotovs into place. It looks like a set piece going to be coming out from Valiance. We'll see when they go for this. The stack towards kind of pit graveyard. Not a bad approach from Epsilon, but it is kind of back to the wall CS. They're going to give a lot of map control over to Valiance here.
Problem here for Valiance, not leaving one player towards Banana means a one-click clear from Smooya will allow for the 4-man rotation here towards the A-bomb site as the hit will conclude.
Good work initially, Smooya down. Decent work at the moment, waiting to see where that bomb goes, if they can actually get it down on the site, and at the moment, that's not the biggest problem. They're actually getting the kills, they're fine for now. The plant comes in with 25 seconds remaining. Cosmine and Surreal to play the retake. No kit, but there was one on Robin, so they can pick that up. They are split up here. And let's look at those afterplant positions. 2 on the site, 1 into pit. Actually pretty decent at this point, but Cosmine can find an angle, and it wasn't being watched, but the 180 turn puts him down to bed, and now it's just the real trying to play it back in, and that's all you need to be doing. Great work from Valiance, playing it well, taking the map control that was kind of given to them there.
Yeah, such a hard round to win in that, in that scenario. Having such good afterplant positions as well if you are Valiance. Even though we saw 4 players towards Epsilon, on towards the A site, you saw the CD setup, right? Yeah, the 1 player towards, but you didn't have the crossfire in towards default. T-Sack able to find the initial 2 frags. The problem is no one else able to find anything of sorts. And into the 2 versus 3. When you have 2 players towards default, they can play off of each other's contact. Obviously, you saw when Cosmine got onto the site, he was trying to shoot down Hunter. Instant reply frag towards default. You also had the cover as well. I believe it was... Gosh, how are we going to settle on this name?
Letney?
Letney? Is that the name? Yeah, let's go Letney. I like that.
Or just, should we just go Let? Should we just
we'll go Let. Let
now?
Towards pit, able to basically hold the positions off towards pit. Another thing as well I wanted to mention, right? Leaving that 1 player towards Banana is usually what you see on the buy rounds, obviously in the pistol rounds, usually stacking up. Smooth is such a well-timed push there. I believe it was on the 1 minute 20 mark. He spotted no one towards Banana after we saw presence from Valiance towards B. They knew it was going to be the A hit. The problem was we didn't see the proper setup towards that A site with 4 players there. Anyway, though, flashbang here, trying to see if he can ward off Surreal. It's actually going to be the 4-man force buy from the likes of Epsilon. You can see Smooth there, just a Deagle, not going to be investing into Kevlar or utility. That way he can still afford the open to the first buy round. And that's a pivotal factor for Epsilon, having the open to Smooth to not only open up the rounds, but to give them confidence as well.
Joxic's having none of it, though. He's been pretty meticulous here. This is really nice work from them. I like the pace that we're seeing Valiance bring into this game. They seem very methodical, as you highlighted. They don't take these kind of crazy risks. They play a very smart game, and I like it. They're being very clear into round 2 that there are threats available, and they don't want to give it up. That's the first real problem. Cosmine did find Surreal, though, so I mean, you know, he's not done the best in the world, and he does get a Mach 10 out of it, but still, it's fine. Bomb plant, 4 alive for Valiance. If maybe Cosmine can get a couple more, it would be the end of all. There's 2 rifles up, so that'd be nice to take away. But I feel as though they're probably not going to let that happen, but Joxic's pretty close, actually.
Red flags here are going to start to be raised for Epsilon. When you go for such a big investment on your pistol round, especially on CT side Inferno, one of the biggest problems is Molotovs, having the extra utility. Playing CT side Inferno, map control is so pivotal, especially towards Banana. You can see already the money for Epsilon. They're only going to be able to afford M4, Kevlar, smoke flashbang, right? We're not going to be seeing the double Molotov, the HE grenades, the smoke towards the bomb of Banana take we're used to seeing on your CT side Inferno. When you go for that 4-5-man force buy, when you lose your initial pistol, and what that sort of sets up is a weak first round buy on your CT side. We may be seeing the narrative of a 0-5 scoreline here for Epsilon, because going into the first buy round, not only might they lack the up onto Smooya, but lacking the necessary utility to take control of the map and to, structure your CT side defense in Inferno.
I'm just going to keep eyes on Valiance here. I'm loving how they're coming into this matchup. It feels like they're the team that, crosses the T's, dots the I's. And I feel that if you've ever had someone like Yanko being on team comms, trust me, it's terrifying. The man's a bit of a, he rules with the iron fist. I'll give him that. So, I mean, they play a nice brand of CS from what I've seen so far. That could fall apart here. They could just, hap-handedly hit that B site without checking out anything else. But I like the way they're approaching. They're being quite cautious. They're not just rushing into things. It is a B stack, of course, from Epsilon.
You can see as well Hunter leading the charge towards Quad. Has the MAC-10. You can use the MAC-10 as well as almost like an information gaining vessel, right? If you lose the MAC-10, not really the end of the world. Even if a CT player picks it up, he's going to have no Kevlar. MAC-10 and no Kevlar, you can't really have too much of an impact into that round. Use the MAC-10, gain the information. You can see right now Valiant's taking a very slow, methodical approach to this round, able to clear systematically that whole of the A bomb site. They know it's going to be clear. Plant the bomb, and they can also hunt with these MAC-10s and get their cash back.
But I do like the way they've taken their time in the essence that we saw that Epsilon was sitting incredibly deep. Even in those first couple of rounds, you had Robin up in towards the graveyard, people really tucked in towards the pit side. So, I mean, again, at least they took the time to do it. They didn't go, okay, well, we've got CT arch control, we check quad, let's just get that bomb planks. The amount of times you'll see just that one person sat there, took the time on it, pretty well set, still got utility for the alpha fund, but look at how quickly they've surrounded that B site. If you see Epsilon trying to get a toe out of place, there's going to be problems. And again, you can put the MAC-10s into this. It's not going to be the end of the world if you lose them, but you could starve out Epsilon pretty heavily here.
It's refreshing to see, having casted the NA qualifier only 2 days ago, seeing the high-octane style of CS, the aim-heavy, the dual-heavy style of Counter-Strike we're witnessing. It's nice, slow, steady, does win the race sometimes in this regard. And let's see if Valiance can keep it forward into the buy rounds. The big question now, the decision to be made for Hunter and also Neno is, do you carry forward the SMGs into the first bar? And if you do, how are you going to utilize them? You're going to use the MAC-10s towards apartments with close-range duels. You can try and have the SMGs jump around the corners, try and land the headshot versus the non-helmeted CT-sided players. Or are you going to use them to rush towards Banana and get early footing in towards B?
It's an interesting topic because you know that they're going to be struggling on Molotovs. You know that AWP, if it's going to come out, will not have armor.
Kevlar, yep.
There's a lot of room for those MAC-10s to work. So they have stuck on them if you're theory crafting it. Pretty great to take control of apps with. You can work your way through to quad. You can work your way down to pit. There's plenty of opportunity. But this man is still a storyline. I hate to repeat it, but the flagship of hope for the UK at this point. Attitude problems. A lot of people know that he's a fiery character, but he's certainly been kind of still making those headlines. He's certainly starting to turn heads and maybe starting to kind of become the all-rounded player that people want to see. But these sort of games where you've got to be kind of getting into that motion, this should be a bread and butter. This should be your every day of the week, showing what you can achieve here and showing what you can deliver. And this is like a very set piece towards A if they actually commit to it. Again, they could just shove, I'm pretty sure that's Hunter and App straight through and just kind of let him be a bit of, I guess, bait to a degree. They could still back away from it, but at the moment, you've got the set smokes coming in. Really nice piece off the back, but Robin could be the thorn in the side. Already spots out one, goes back in. Maybe a little anxious to get into this, and the flash is coming out. This is a very well-rounded hit, but they still need to get rid of Smooya. They still, and he's not going to go down without a fight. There's more players coming through, though. Zach is still there. Good support coming in. Hunter's gone down, and now it's Smooya. Tagged up, the support has come in through from CT Arch. It's a 2v2.
Timing here has to be so critical right now. Cosmine, Surreal, no defuse, but there is one somewhere towards the A-bomb side. Did see T-Sec having one in his inventory. Orb for Neno playing in towards default. Unlikely here, or unfortunate, sorry. You want to have the Orb towards Pimp, so you can hold the long-range angles, but nevertheless, Joxic and Neno in the 2 versus 2. Cosmine has to try and find that defuse kit as well, wherever T-Sec dropped it.
All right, we've got Surreal with a flash that's about to be played in right now. That should free up Cosmine to make something happen, but it hasn't. Surreal's gone down, and Cosmine just stands here. He does find the man in pit. Smoke goes in, and now the man with the AWP on the side. He's already found one, at least in this afterplant. Can he find another?
Time is of the essence here. Playing inside the smoke as well. Neno actually going to be using the smoke that was deployed by Cosmine to his advantage. Going to be delaying the clock. Goes to the face. Easy shot landed there as well. 4-0. This is the storyline I was predicting, Lauren. The 4-0, potentially 5-0 is one you consider as well. The fact that it should be a weak buy as well for Epsilon. When you do go for the fully fledged force buy, it can come back to haunt you. Especially as well for Epsilon as well. Setting up in a way where we saw Robin being so exposed. He was playing the off angle. This is the thing. That position there is so good for getting one frag and then falling back. When you are playing a scenario like that, or a position like that, sorry, on top of quad, usually you would see another player underneath the quad playing counter flash essentially. When you have 2 players towards quad, you can counter a mid-take in that scenario. Problem is, when you have one player alone there, not only is he so exposed, but it's also very easy to trade that frag. So it will be the quasi buy here for Epsilon. Obviously, they will be going to the maximum round loss bonus, that being $3,400. So they can afford to go for Kevlar, upgrade their pistol, potentially a smoke grenade, a flashbang here or there. But apart from that, no real investment here into fully fledged firepower. It will be the MAC-10, though, for Let, as he can try and utilize that once again to gain information, garner some extra cash as well, as it's going to be $600 a piece per frag.
Valiant's breaking out that kind of NIP style, when Threat was at the helm, sort of hit the kind of bigger smokes that land throughout that kind of pit side of thing, really cutting off. Beautifully done. I'm thoroughly impressed that they actually went to those sort of lengths to pull it back through, and it did come down to that 2v2 in the end. But into this round, again, so much map control. You were discussing this is something that's going to come up, and again, Valiance are getting a lot here for free as well. But a good cheat over coming in from Zach. He's going to be getting himself quickly over towards B, and that could be a good shout at this point. The bomb is there. They are going to try and make the hit happen. This could be the first risky play that actually we've seen Valiance make, but at the moment, they've come up with good enough results. There's still 2 players here, and that could be their downfall.
4 versus 2. Make it a 4 versus 1 now. Robin going to be last alive. Just the CZ and Kevlar to boot in this scenario. Nemi is low HP, so he can try and find that one frag and maybe, just maybe, at best, try and salvage an AK potentially to the next round. But even then, the most he can do here is try and whittle down that terrorist economy, try and keep the T's on the bomb, maybe make noise when the bomb's 15, 12 seconds away from blowing off. That way you keep the T's near the bomb, then maybe they die to the explosion. Apart from that, only real thing that Robin could do here is do damage to the economical state that of Valiance. But anyway, what I want to see from the T side here, Lauren, is potential apps burst. The reason being is we saw from Epsilon, they want to have Smooth up towards Arch, and we've already seen so far Robin and T set go for a double quad set play. And what the double quad play does is it counters mid control. Obviously, you're in front of the smokes. Obviously, you have that one player playing counter flash underneath quad. You dodge the flashbang, you wide face, you've got 2 players there, and they spray down the people coming through mid. But how do you counter that? You go for an apps burst. The reason being is, if you're playing towards quad, you have to worry about your right and your left side, that being middle and also apartments. So, an apps burst would counter the double quad play, and actually we're already seeing that Smooth and T-Stack playing 2 towards quad. But this time it's going to be because 3 players from Epsilon are situated and commissioned towards B.
First time we're seeing, of course, Epsilon with the utility to make a play happen. Decent trade so far, keeping at the 4v4, but there's the switch up. Robin goes down. Cosmin as well to fall. Jockstick is having a great game. He's a bit of a headliner so far. A couple of the early rounds really went his way, and bear in mind, the rest of Epsilon were all over by that quad side. That's a very long rotate, and that UMP could come into play for Hunter here. He's just lurking around. He could make this costly, but great work from Valiance, just effective trading coming in. That was the first time we saw Epsilon with utility to try and gain that control, and it just disintegrated.
Yeah, couldn't really put it any better. Conflagration. You're welcome. Conflagration there towards Banana, as it will just be consolation frags, exit frags like that for T-Sec and Co. Obviously, Smooth saving the AWP. He has armor now to back it up, so maybe you might see some crazy, audacious, risky peaks coming out to the next bar. And obviously, for Epsilon, this is the storyline I was speaking about, essentially. If it's not early frags or aggression, when it comes down to playing textbook Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike 101, you are going to be losing on this scenario to a team like Valiance.
Stay alive.
And he will do
He
that.
did, he did at least keep that. If you die after time, that gets a little bit painful. But looking at the Valiant side, they've got money. They can go for that, and they got the AWP away from Smooth, which is probably the main goal. They sacrificed a lot of players for it, but you remove that, you remove kind of, I guess, the main bit of kind of threat that's been coming through, at least in the back of your mind. A lot of the other players have been getting kills, but none of it seemed convincing for me yet from Epsilon. It's all been kind of here, there, and everywhere. I wanted to see a little bit more from them when I watched these guys, but again, their money has been absolute trash so far. That round just then was the first time we got to see them with any sort of purchase. But Hunter, real nuisance player towards apartments. He's spamming it out, he's gaining control, he's always showing presence, so it's hard to read. Epsilon, they've liked to cheat a player over to B early a couple of times, but this time, of course, look at the money. Deagles, CZs, and you've got to sack at least with the M4, there is that.
For me, you know, it's fine that Epsilon go for these investments here. Obviously, Deagle, Kevlar. One of the problems I saw when casting the NA qualifier was a lot of the North American teams were investing too heavily into these quasi rounds where they're at the maximum round loss bonus. You know, when you buy Deagle Kevlar and you have, what, 1.8k left in the bank, when you do receive your round loss bonus, yes, it's going to be 5,500 or whatever, but we need to see full utility. Molotovs across the board, diffuse kits as well. We've already seen how impactful the diffuse kit was in the first bar when it was that 1 versus 1 between Cosmin and Jockstick as well. But for me, I mean, the salient point going forward, potentially, for Epsilon, is they cannot concede the first frag. First buy round, Robin died first towards quad when he was boosted up here in this exact same position where T-Sec is. Second buy round, we saw a 2-for-1 trade towards Banana. Valiance, if they're gaining advantage early on, they're never going to get let go. They're never going to let go of it. No,
and it's a good read from Valiance to a degree here. They have walked into the one man with the rifle, but again, Epsilon put 3 players towards B. They've made the right piece, and again, Hunter, good positioning, real nice kind of play back into it through apps. They did remove the one threat here, who's at least going to maybe hinder the bomb plant. And we'll see where that retake comes from. There can be a nice little kind of passive hold from Nino here. If he tucks himself on the left and just watches the cross-up, he's going to do a little bit of that. But he's got to be careful of second mid. He's playing a little bit hap-handedly towards those windows. And you're going to see as to why. Cosmine's going to punish. Does get taken down to 3 HP. But, I mean, at this point, you're getting whatever you can here. Joxy, though, going hunting. And Smooya going to deliver towards him. So they're keeping it at least competitive at this point.
Competitive in terms of frags, but unfortunately the same cannot be said for rounds. It's going to go 7-0 as we head into round number 8 as well. There will be some exit frags found by Smooya and, of course, Robin. Robin being the IGL captain of the new Epsilon lineup. And Barbar might be watching this one with a grin on his face as well, obviously already in the close qualifier with Singularity.
Yeah, but again, you look at the way the money system's gone and how the rounds have kind of played out for Epsilon. I almost feel the fact that they've never really had that backbone to kind of build into. Of course, it's their own fault to a degree. You can't say it's not. You can't say, oh, Valiance is just lucky. But for me, you know, that CT side start, when it doesn't go your way early and you don't get any of those kind of things working for you, you're going to be punished so hard. The economy just absolutely puts you in a little box and keeps you there. Now, the last time this happened, they had the trades on Banana. The last time they had that full buy, trades on Banana didn't go well in the end for Epsilon. They lost out on Cosmine, who's the kind of last stop. We
might be seeing the apps burst I was speaking about before. Already 3 players in towards apartments. This may be cool because 3 players towards Banana once again. Obviously, once you see 2 Molotovs and a smoke thrown at the exact same time, you can potentially guess there's 3 players towards Banana. Obviously, usually when there's 3 players towards Banana, that's going to be the Arch player. So you can go for a fast Archer up to counter that. But I think, actually, Epsilon did a good job of disguising 3 players towards B. And now they have control towards tree, towards wood. They can hold off towards the Cubby at Banana, potentially leave Cosmine alone towards Banana. The problem is, though, Cyril and Cosmine both don't have smoke, so they can't prolong the smoke essential play towards Banana. So that could be a slight issue here going forward.
Once that smoke dissipates, at the bottom Banana, it's pretty much game on at this point. Now,
yeah, it's true. I mean, the thing is, sorry to interrupt as well, but this is the game Valiance wants to play. This is the game Valiance want to play. They want to play the slow game of chess, and that smoke's now gone, and they're going to be exploiting the fact that we might be seeing some weak defense towards this B-bomb site.
The thing is, Hunter's been consistent in the fact that he'll do the same thing through apps every time, so you can't read whether he's there or not. He does the same spam, he pushes Smooya back. They've played late back in towards Banana. They've taken away the utility there. But again, look at them. They're making Epsilon second-guess themselves. They swung an additional player over to B. No one's there. But Smooya strikes first. Good work from him, but flashed on the site. The Molly going to come out, try and buy some time for that rotate. Smooya again tries to hold him, but Joxic is there. That's a big shot from Smooya. But Hunter, perfect positioning, comes back in a little late, but he does the job. Now left into a 2v3. This is the first real chance we're going to see for Epsilon coming in. They need to get this retake right.
No utility here for Valiance. The bomb is planted for apartments though, so Hunter can try and utilize that to his advantage. And already to his advantage with the first frag onto Robin. 2 versus 2 now. Kids though for the CT side, but they are lacking the Molotov to potentially flush out these T-sided players.
Oh, Hunter's seen them both. This is excellent work from him. And Nemi just has to hold. He has to just buy time, be a nuisance, be a pain. Cost them those seconds on the bomb, and he's done just that. Brilliance coming out from Valiance as they hold on so well, and Hunter's positioning and play. But I've got to say at the start, Robin just wandering in, looking like a lost puppy, just kind of giving himself to the apartments. That was the first real shot we saw coming through there for Epsilon in such an advantageous position.
Obviously, if you are Epsilon in that scenario, you want to be playing the trade. If you have that man advantage, Robin's probably saying, trade me a quad. Even if he goes down, you want to have that trade frag onto Hunter, but because he's playing alone towards apartments, Robin goes alone in towards Boiler. There is no trade frag potential. That one frag is found, and in 2 versus 2, it's very easy there for Valiance to play off of contact. You saw, as soon as Hunter's teammate took contact towards default, wide swung towards apartments, and he found that last frag as well onto, I believe it was Surreal. Nevertheless, though, 0-8 here, dire situations now for Epsilon.
Cosmine, maybe frustration, whatever it may be, it's kind of worked out to a degree here. 4v3, early man advantage for Epsilon, a bit of a rarity it feels in these days. A couple of them have been defined by Smooya in their last round. It went very well for him early on, but beyond that, it's all been that Valiance early game show, taking that map control and building in.
4 versus 3 now. It will be the man advantage for Epsilon, but how are they going to utilize that man advantage? We already saw on the last after plant, it wasn't utilized in the most efficient way possible. Smooya playing the off angle here towards Arch to see if he's going to find another early opener. And he will do just that. 4 versus 2 now.
Joxic does have the angle. Molotov as well. He's going to force Smooya out one way or another. And he is burning alive, still gets the shot and somehow gets away. 4 HP is all he's got to work with. But on the other side, Valiance only had one man. Finally, Epsilon get on the board. Early kills come in. Smooth with a great CT Arch hold. Finally hinder Valiance. This is a great sign for them. You
can start to see the complacency as well for Valiance. They're taking more risks. Obviously, early portions of this matchup, we were seeing slow, methodical style of CS. Now they're actually fighting back towards Banana. Not only that, they're going for the wide faces, the dry peaks as well. They're not flashing towards mid. We can definitely see the confidence start to gleam from Valiance's play. But then again, will the confidence come back to haunt them if they keep giving away these early frags?
I'm just happy to see a bit of success on Banana, a bit of, anything working out for Epsilon. It felt that it was very much against them, but they do have that utility now sitting beside them, so they can make that play and that kind of, I guess, vying for that early map control. It does leave that, means the Valiants have to play a little slower, but they seem very comfortable with that, and you can see this kind of it looks quite passive to me, at least for now. You've got the 2 in second mid, and then the slow build up through Banana, but again, this time Epsilon kind of giving up Banana control. They're not fighting for it this time, and I'm curious as to why, if there's a different approach they're going for here.
The issue here for Epsilon is playing so passive towards Banana means a fake could be very easy for Valiance to sell. When you have no information towards top Banana, you have no idea, 1, how many players are there. 2, if they're setting up for an execution at that. So all it takes now potentially is if Hunter makes a lot of noise towards apartments, he has that one smoke if he smokes out towards Arch. If Valiance can keep 3 players towards the A site for Epsilon, they can try to turn this into a 4 versus 2, or God forbid, a 5 versus 2, if Hunter makes it towards the site as well unscathed. And here's the smoke towards Arch I was speaking about. Smoke towards Arch, this should keep 3 players here for Epsilon.
And no one's watching top mid either. No one's got that early contact. So again, Epsilon are playing blind into this. The hit's going to be coming towards B right about now. There's no easy rotate either coming in. There's going to be a little bit of, I guess, paranoia in the back of their minds that someone could be at CT Arch. It's slowing down the rotate, and that's a brilliant beginning. Surreal gets just shoved aside. You've still got Cosmine there, but blocked out by the smoke. I kind of hope they keep a tab on this. They do. They let him get away with 1, though. That's going to hinder it slightly. The rotate finally comes in. 3 players left standing for Epsilon.
4 versus 3. Diffuse kits. Smokes flashbang, but unfortunately here for Epsilon, no Molotovs to flush out the corners, the cubbies where Valiance are currently situated. But let's see here. For Valiance, they have a good crossfire here towards Banana. They've also got the crossfire between Pool and also the cubby in towards Banana. It's a very hard round now for Epsilon to win.
Yeah, mistakes would have to be made from Valiance, which it can happen. It's not going to say it's not, but with a crossfire set up like that, it's very hard to break in unless you have one player just kind of go off and find that kind of room that you're not meant to have. Now, again, let's kind of talk through this, because it feels like Epsilon kind of get a grip on things. They get that round before, they look great. They had the Banana control, they had Smooya doing great at CT Arch, and then they kind of fall back to this very passive approach. They give up all of the top mid, they sit very deep on the sites, they don't play for that Banana control, but they had utility, they had means to do it. I'm curious as to why they go to this.
It could just be paranoia. The reason being is the reset. One of the things I wanted to speak about or touch on last round was what happens if Epsilon lose this round. And you're seeing that right now. A full eco, the money being reset, or the round loss bonus, sorry, being reset all the way back down to $1,400. And this right now is awful for scenarios for Epsilon. 1 to 10 down, 9-round deficit so far. Only 11 rounds being played. You're in a 9-round deficit. Your money as well is going to be stellar. AWP, investment for Smooya. They have the Molotov there onto Robin, but Robin's playing towards A. We're seeing no Molotovs right now towards B, towards Banana. We're going to be seeing the same storyline potentially where there's no early control towards Banana. Valiance can take control of top B for free. And then from there, they can fake towards A, they can fake towards B, and everything's going to go in their favor. Once again, early advantage found for Valiance, and this is the salient point going forward for Epsilon, is once they concede these first frags, Valiance aren't going to let go of that bite, of that grip they have on this round.
And it feels like they just kind of went, all right, well, how do we deal with Banana? How do we deal with this? And they just kind of, we'll just throw Smooya at it. We'll just kind of put him there and hope that he can come up with something, make up for that deficit of utility, and it doesn't work out that way. For me, it does feel like Epsilon have had a bit of a struggle, but it feels like, again, Valiance is so good at exploiting this. I love the way Hunter's been playing. I like the way that now Cosmines have to kick into action. I want to see how deep this kind of back and forth will go. It's, that's that kind of mentality that goes beyond these kind of players that consistently is like, okay, well, he's slowly played this, he spams it every time, maybe I can push up this time. Oh. Maybe you can't. Hunter is on point. This guy, every time now, can smoke off CT Arch, slow it down, and they're not getting hap-handed, or they're not kind of taking risks here. Look at this, smoke to CT Arch, that slow play, background towards A. They feel as though they've removed the threat. They knew the Smooya was by B, so they've read this well. There's only one man left towards A.
It's almost as if that one round they lost was like a slap on the wrists and brought them back to reality, going back to what was working to them before. Slow, methodical style of CS. Oh, Robin there, if he goes for the reface as well into Joxic's AWP, it could be the end of the round.
But it's
Just, and actually all three players are here, the over-rotation. Just the AWP making the scope sound, essentially. Robin calling this an AWP here is enough for all the players to take that risk. The problem for Epsilon is, obviously, you're in a 2-man deficit. You're 1 to 10 down. You have to take risks to try to get back into this one. Unfortunately, though, high risk, high reward, sorry, it doesn't pay off.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to watch in a way, because you kind of feel like, oh, have they fallen for it again? But for us, of course, we get full vision, we get full information, we get to see how this plays out every single round. But for them, they're desperate. They're desperately trying to get any cue. How do we get back in this game here? All right, let's try and get Smooya and be, okay, let's, quick rotate. Let's try and get people off. Don't be afraid to kind of get over there. But again, you're being outplayed. Simple as that. The money has worked very well for Valiance. We did say this could be a very T-sided game, or it should be defined on the T side a little bit here.
Yeah, that's what's in the prelude, right? T-side was set. Yeah, the T-side was set up. The reason being is, okay, it's like fire and ice, right? Which counters which?
Yep.
Fire being Epsilon, fast, audacious, take risks, firepower, right? And ice being Valiance, ice cold, chilled, they're relaxed, they're composed, they play slow. And they counter the style of play where people are going to be walking into the crossfires, people are going to be walking into the setups, and God forbid on the CT side as well. If we see smart CT setups as well for Valiance, as we see on the T side, if history repeats itself when the sides do flip, this is going to be a 16-4, 16-5 at best.
But you know that maybe another day of the week, this could have been completely different. I feel as though if Smooya's hitting banging shots, if they're feeling confident, if they had the money from the start, if things just start a little differently, I see this game going completely different as well. You get that fast pace that somehow works against slower teams who don't take the kind of peak as advantage. You kind of get a little stay in their ways. Hunter gets outplayed somehow this time around. But today, in the way it's gone, Hunter's been an absolute beast. He's been the dominating factor towards that. The rest of the team, their rotates, their positioning, their control has been exceptional. But are they misreading this again? Smooya's just backed over towards A.
Yeah, I mean, before we touch on that point, I just want to carry on what you said there in terms of, on a different day, could it be different? The answer is obviously yes, right? If we're seeing Smooya, Robbins, T-Sack, whatever, on form, potentially, right? But then again, it comes down to consistency. What is more consistent, Lauren, right? Play or teamwork, slow, methodical plays across the map, and strong defaults, or individual firepower? What is more consistent?
Well, I think we're finding out the answer to this, but again, maybe there's hope if they get the last couple of rounds they could do something, but it's waning, to say the least. Smooya now, smoke up towards mid, flash well timed. Saxbo actually in a good spot, but I guess the team kill's going to help him. That's something.
That is very true, but once again, it's going to be the Apps player.
I feel as though there's been almost no trades, barring that one round on Banana, where that was it. And Smooya's now very isolated. The teammates are there, but it's still.
You can land that fancy flick all you want, but a 1-for-1 in this scenario isn't going to be good enough for Epsilon. And as you said before, no trades, right? Why is T-Sack always, or not T-Sack, sorry, why is there always that one quad player so isolated with the lack of backup? Where is the cavalry in this scenario, When you are playing double towards quad, you should be together. One playing counter flash, one hold of the angle. You have something set up. You have some thought process behind you. Why you're there? Why are you there? Think about that. Why are you playing this angle?
Why are we here?
I don't know. But 12-1. As we go into round number 14. Round number 14, that being the penultimate round of the first half. And so far for Epsilon, it's still not looking good. It's going to be the Qualifier coming out. Smooya actually this time as well, going to be investing into Kevlar and upgraded pistols, that being the CZ. And unfortunately, once again, Lauren, they've lost the first player on the server. It's going to be 13-1. This could be a 41 half. We could be witnessing manslaughter. Unless there's girls on the team, then, slaughter.
Just slaughter.
Just slaughter.
Dear Lord.
Murder. What can I say? What can I say?
Yeah, I think we'll be called up on, the witness stand. And I really can't be bothered with that, guys. So, get a couple of rounds, Epsilon. Make it look competitive. Make it look like, this is an absolute beatdown. The thing is, you can see the firepowers there for Epsilon every now and then. You watch these guys hit these crazy shots, but again, it's not strung together. It's not cohesive, and yeah, this is a run over. And this is what happens though in open qualifiers. We come in at this point, round of 16 sort of games. This can happen.
Yeah.
It's you can look at storylines, you can build into it, you can look at previous results, at potential, but it doesn't matter. This is how the games can go.
Thing is, are we being too harsh on Epsilon? Potentially. Are we harping on them too vigorously?
It's
you could argue
12-1.
that. Okay, it is. But this is a new roster for Epsilon, right? Let's try and give them some stock to work with. Yes, they're being slaughtered right now currently. You're witnessing murder in front of your eyes right now, but New lineup for Epsilon. The problem is, for a team like Epsilon, is you bring together, right, T-Sac, best player from Greece. Smooya, best player from the UK. Robin.
Why did you pause?
No, because
poor Robin.
Vac, okay, very good player. He's had offers he's had offers onto very good teams. Problem is, he carries the Vac band with him.
Yep.
Cosbean, best player from Romania, and obviously Surreal, one of the best players from the UK, right? So the problem is, you have a ragtag band of bandits from all over Europe, the best players from within their countries, respectively, right? Communication, teamwork is going to be the hardest point. You know, these guys have firepower, these guys have skill, that's no issue. You know, we're not going to be here judging that. The argument here is the teamwork and communication and how they can try and solve that.
I think we're going to see if Smooya can make a bit of a difference here. Nice work again. 2 kills for him this round. Making a fair bit of impact. They did obviously lose out on Surreal, but beyond that, you know, this is a good start. We're going to see the Valiant side working with less. They don't have that full utility. They've got some left, enough to build in, you know, 3 smokes, 2 Molotovs. There's definitely potential for them to mold something into this round, and Hunter's always going to be over here. I'm curious when he leaves. Still splitting it 2-2, be the old Epsilon side. Bomb lingering at the bottom, but they've got 50 seconds. They've got lots of time to kind of poke and prod, but obviously you don't want to overextend. You don't want to give up that kind of possibility. Even a 3v4 for a T side, it's still very, very viable. And Hunter, he did almost find that room to work. To be fair to him, CT Archer's been open a fair amount these games.
It has been. That's, you know, one of the issues when you have such a dynamic AWPer going around the map towards quad, towards apartments, towards B. Obviously, it leaves potential opportunity towards Arch. Speaking of potential opportunity, that being given to Robin with the gap in the smoke, 4 versus 2. Surely this is the second round here for Epsilon.
You'd hope so. You got 1 player in pit, you got 1 player on site, but there's only 15 seconds for Valiance. That's the big problem here. That's good work though, but now the strike should come in. This should be where it ends. All right, maybe not. 9 seconds. Bomb can be planted, does pick it up. He's got time on this one. They can't get there quick enough to deny the plant. So it is a 1v2. It is a retake, but 11 HP, surely not enough. Flashed up, no, they do get in there, but for a second, I thought he might not have been fully flashed, and that could have been a very quick shot, but it's the second round on the board.
Number 2, but unfortunately the first round has concluded. 2-13 going forward, and long story short, Valiance win the pistol. We're on to the round of 8 in quick concession.
Yeah.
Succession even.
But I've got to say, I enjoy the brand of CS they're bringing.
It's refreshing, it's good to see, and it's rare you find such thought-out Counter-Strike in this tier of Counter-Strike.
Especially a round of 16 as well. You know, most of these teams kind of keep it for if we get to this point, if we have to play a best of 3. But I mean, this is great. I'm so happy seeing actually structured CS in qualifiers.
But this is why I alluded to the point when we had the prelude or the preview before the Space Soldiers Press Z game, was the motivation behind the 2 teams, right? I don't think people realize how much weight is put into these qualifiers for these teams. You know, you might think, oh, the closed qualifiers or the semi-finals to qualify, but no, you know, for these teams, this is their practice, this is their officials. And, you know, a game in MDL, a game in Premier is treated the same as a matchup in deep into a qualifier. I don't think people at home actually realize the amount of weight that goes into this.
No, and I'm wondering, see, if Epsilon, I want them to get back into this, though, for me, because at least then it gets competitive.
It's true. Funny thing as well for Epsilon, you saw they were holding towards Banana. They thought that Valiance would get greedy, get cocky, and basically push down Banana, try end it. But yeah, Valiance, these guys like to play the slow game. They're no stranger to the clock.
No. Molotov towards Dark, though, making it a little bit tricky there. Nimi, though, still alive, buying a bit of time, and that's what you got to do, stay alive at this point. That's good work from him. It's bought time for the rotate. No smokes left on the T side either. Makes it a little bit tricky, but the kills have come in. It's a 4v3. But where's the bomb plant? That's taken a bit of time. And they do have a kit on Joxic. So, again, Hunter's still up, Let's still up. And let's see if they can work this one out. It's unlikely. The crossfire's good. There are USPs now sitting on the T side, so they can hold those further away angles rather than just the Glock. And it's Smooya on Banana, taking a bit of an extended fight. Does get tagged, but doesn't go down. Now Robin plays in. Good work from him. And we might just see a small window. Oh, God, let no. He's going to find 2. It's fine. There's no time on it. But for a second, I was like, nah, UKCS.
It's not let me, it's let no. Do not go towards that B-bomb site, please. Yeah, I mean, crazy.
How long did you think about that?
Split second. Hey. I feel bullied already at this broadcast. What can I say?
I'll go to a seminar, don't worry. All right, 13-3. I mean, there's a chance.
13-3, as you said, yeah, 10-round deficit still. Even though Epsilon win the second half pistol, we're still looking at a 10-round deficit going forward into the second half.
Yep.
No smoke for CT. I thought for a second that could have been the opportunity or the
I was a
window
little
of opportunity.
worried.
Yeah, the window of opportunity given for Valiance to try to get back into this one. But yeah, I mean, lifeline potentially given out to Epsilon to try to come back into this one. Say they win versus... This is the thing. Look at this. Valiance aren't even forcing. They understand the importance of utility on Inferno. Thank God.
They play the game that we sit there and go, why don't teams do this?
And that's the thing. As you know, when you're the color cast, you just, you know, bashing all these teams. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And it's, you know, it's nice to see some teams actually realize it.
But it's because we often see the ramifications of when teams, you know, make those choices, and you're like, oh, why did you do that? But then sometimes,
yeah.
but then sometimes it will go right for them, and you're suddenly like, well, you know, what can we say about that? Because more often than not, it can do that too.
And think of this as well, right? Epsilon being such a young team, only really having, well, practice as a team through Prac itself, not actually a lot of, you know, experience in actual officials. I'm sure, you know, Cosmeans, they're landing incredible deagle shots in Prac, and they're winning all these force buys. You know, when push comes to shove in these, not only qualifiers, but officials, how successful are you going to have when the other team's actually playing 100% focused and 100% committed as well?
It's a different world, right?
Very different,
and for Epsilon now, it's brick by boring brick, I guess you could call it. You know, these rounds they're going to have to win aren't going to be the most flashy, aren't going to be the most fun, but they need to kind of do what we saw Valiance do. Go through it all. Be smart with your money. Don't waste things. Don't be complacent. Get the bomb planted, please. It's, you know, they as long as they keep these players alive, keep the money building so they have that full flush purchase no matter what, that's fine by me. Now on the other side where we saw the Valiants have kind of, not bowed out, but they took that kind of respite in the purchasing. They were a little bit more cautious with their money, so when they can buy, you might see a little bit more to what they have. Could see whatever they fancy coming through. Those Molotovs a little early, we saw very much starved from the Epsilon side.
You know, casting a lot of Inferno, especially in these qualifiers, it seems like Inferno is one of the most popular maps to see.
Love a bit of Inferno.
Well, the reason usually is Inferno is such a broad map that everyone plays it, but also the fact that, you know, you think about cobble specialists, right? Teams that are specialized on cobblestone, they specialize on cash. You know, you usually see a lot of Mirage, you see a lot of Inferno. The reason being is it's very widely played or openly played maps where, you know, you're going to be banning out, especially the best of one as well, when you have the plethora of bans you have, you know, teams are just going to ban out statistically the best maps, right? You go on HLTV, you see your opponent's best map, he's banned all the way down. A lot of the times Inferno's, you know, 55% win rate, 50% win rate. It's a very much a mediocre map for most of the teams. It's very rare you see a team that specializes in Inferno.
Lovely stuff. Would have liked to see Cosmean being the one to get kills, maybe Robin getting a few more there, but, you know, round on the board would just be nice for the money to get built up here. Also like seeing the Galil coming in. I saw a couple of players kind of saying the Galil and the Famous are both overlooked because players are too lazy to learn them. They're still pretty effective.
Yeah, no, especially after the UMP nerf that happened last year.
Well,
I think
prior to that, obviously, the UMP was king. There's
exactly.
no disputing
There
that.
was no reason to buy into the FAMAS, more expensive, less kill reward, double the kill reward. I mean, the UMP 1.2k, the FAMAS is 2,250, right? $1,000 extra and $300 less per frag.
Oh, that's lovely from Smooya. Very quick, very aggressive. I'm hoping they don't just kind of fall into this. We can just depend on those kind of kills to come in every single round. I know that sounds like I'm always finding a negative to the positive, but you can see as to why Smooya gets complacent for a second, jumps a little wide, maybe before he had the step to, but we'll find out if that's going to be a hindrance down the line. It's a 4v4. Cosmean had room to work until then. Nino found him trying to push through on Speedway, but it's a turn back towards B. Here comes a hit. Nemi knows what's happening. He's going to buy time. Smoke goes in, isolates one. Where's the trade? Where's the fourth? Almost another isolated 1v1. He's buying time, though, and that's the main thing here. Again, Nino's close to this. You're down to 2 players. They've got the smoke on the cross. The spam's coming in. This looks a bit scary for me.
3 versus 2. No defuse kit here for Valiance. No utility as well. They're going to have to go with dry peaks. They can't flash into angles. They can't Molotov and flush out players in towards Emo, in towards Banana. No smoke as well to shroud the bomb and shroud the defuse. So here it comes. Flashbang comes up for Cyril. Might be see a face as well from Robin. He will get a quick peek towards CT.
Lovely work from Surreal. Not overextending either. This should be where Robin can kick in if Nino steps too far, and he does. That's great work. Good crossfire setup, holding the angles they need to. And Joxic's out there. Surely you want to keep hold of that AWP rather than just charging in there. You don't even have a kit and the time's running out. So finally we see Epsilon showing a bit of what they've got here. Good work on the exit, though. Still going to keep it costly at least. But I mean, overall, this is good signs from Epsilon. It's getting a little scary when you can see them taking those kind of individual moments rather than trying to build back in, but it was kept together in the end by Surreal. And who was else on the bottom? Was it Robin?
Robin, yeah, towards Emo.
Yeah, it was a nice little crossfire they set up. They held it.
It was. Yeah, I mean, in terms of crossfires, one of the best crossfires you can have is Banana, Emo, and also Pool as well. You have the Pool and Banana guy hold towards CT. They can cross for that position, and then you have the guy playing towards Emo, just jiggle peeking towards Ruin. As soon as the guy Ruin takes contact, the guy Pool just stands up, turns around, shoots the guy on the side. As soon as the guy CT takes contact, the guy towards Banana just wide faces, gets the peek in towards CT, and the job's done. So very hard to retake Banana just because of how effective the crossfires can be. Nevertheless, though, will be the saved op for Joxic. Unable to find the first frag. They're trying to go for an audacious face through the fire and the flames. Trying to get their first frag towards Banana, but will actually instead bite the fire and go down to 36 points of health.
Hunter finding Surreal all alone. Cosmin there, still kind of obscured by the smoke, unable to help out at all, but a bit of a blow early on, not exactly what you want to be seeing at this point. And bear in mind, Joxic is the danger man, right? He's the guy who should be flashed off of the angle and not being allowed.
Timing.
He's going back in on this. Oh, they almost line up perfectly. He actually did tag the second player as well. Nino now gets played in. That's a one shot as well. Backs away by some time. Look at these rotates. Hunter is there. The bomb's backing away.
It all comes down to...
This is smart. Cosmin, if he gets CT arch control and clears it fast, maybe they've got something here. You do have let, at least in the right place, he can maybe spot something out, hinder it, but good quick rotate, maybe not overzealously pouring into places here. Cosmin again strikes. He gives away the game, but by now that should be a bomb plant.
Even though you see Nemi there with the AK in his inventory, no, what's it called? Kevlar,
Armor?
Yep, no armor. Try and utilize here in the 3 versus 2. They had to defuse get those, so they have 5 extra seconds to try and get that bomb defusal through. They have to trade the frag. Hunter or Neno have to go first and be trade vessels essentially for the AK to find the frags. Otherwise, this is going to be a very easy round here for Epsilon.
They spot out Smooya, they know where he is. Both players now facing a nice flash coming in, good face coming out from the Epsilon side, but it feels like that was saved by a very thin wire. That didn't feel...
Good call, essentially.
It was a good call from Epsilon to get over towards, away from B, essentially, because that looked like it was spiraling. That aggressive play coming out from Joxic, one, was a little bit scary. Then what? It was Nino there sitting kind of by the first boxes.
Yeah,
it looked a little bit worrying at that point.
It's actually surprising as well. I believe, gosh, I can't remember which play it was. That was towards Top Banana, but he heard the footsteps towards CT. Yep. As soon as he heard those footsteps, he knew it was going to be the over rotation, essentially. At least all 3 players, if not all 4 players, towards that B bomb site. Made the call, they're going towards B, rotating in towards B, that being the CT side. Ran up through mid. That was Cosmin that managed to take control of that site. He found that frag on Let. Because of that, a nice and easy round for Epsilon.
That looked like Cosmin was pretty far away from that, but...
Poor flashbang as well, yeah.
Yeah, Smooya going to trade it back, so we're back in an even situation. Double up into practice, or it was, should I say. Kind of allowed you to leave that one-man standing bastion towards B, pull that player, Nemi, over early towards A.
The thing is as well, I feel like the double up setup's going to be so strong versus a team like Epsilon. What counters an op, right? What renders the op useless, right? Smokes, flashbangs, molotovs to flush out the positions where you want to hold passively, and great executions, trade frags as well, right? Is that the style of CS you're going to see for Epsilon? No, it's not. You know, they're going to be playing contact-style Counter-Strike where they're peeking you left, right, and center. Orbs would counter that.
Oh, Nemi almost kind of kicked into gear there. Good work on the first Surreal to trade. We're finally seeing trades coming out from the T side here. This is starting to look like a more competitive matchup. A 3v3 possible retake. Joxic looking for an angle here. Plant has come in. We're going to see that off plant situation very early. Hunter eyeing up towards Banana quickly. He knows that someone's going to back there. There's no way they're all on site, but how much can you get done at this point? If they're dug in here, that retake's very tricky. You don't have a kit on that CT side.
All comes down to the next frag, essentially. If Valiance can find this frag, if Smooya gets time to trying to peek in towards Ruin, a poor peek.
What is he doing?
And poor timing. Exactly, what is he doing? 3 versus 1 now as he finds the second frag as well. It's going to be a 1 versus 3 T-stack. The Greek god himself. Let's see if he's got the physique as well.
Time is ticking, and I don't think they've got a kill on this. They actually might not win the round. He has done it. He's held on, but I mean, as good as that clutch is, you should never have been in a 1v3. At no point should that have ever happened.
Smooya, they're maybe getting a bit audacious and overzealous to go for that wide face towards Ruin. He wanted to try and steal the deal into the 3 versus 2. But it seemed like Karma came right back around, and actually it was a 3 versus 2 against his team. So it's going to be...
Reward.
Yeah, risk versus reward, exactly. It's going to be the Eco now coming out, or the Qualifier, you could argue, coming out for Valiance. It's going to be careful upgraded pistols across the board. Actually, a 5-7 there for Hunter. Nice to see. Don't see that one too often. 3 smokes. One of the really good counter or the quasi buys you can do on Inferno on the CT side is having 5 smokes. Reason being is such tight choke points towards middle, towards Banana. If you use the smokes in rotation, you cycle them through, you can actually really whittle down the clock.
Slack taking a little bit of damage, but staying alive. 5 alive here against the 4. And for Epsilon, keep these rounds clean. Again, as much as this feels like, wow, Epsilon had a great half, it's still building back in. Until it's 13-13, it's game pretty much set into the hands of Valiance for me. One break in the mentality of Epsilon, I feel like it could kind of choke them out. But we'll see if that happens. For now, Epsilon are in that good space, they're in that good mindset, they're building the game back to their favor.
The unfortunate here for Epsilon as well is, in terms of a best of 3, it feels like they're finally warmed up.
Yep.
You come into this matchup, first game of the day in terms of this qualifier on the last day of the open qualifier. First game of the day, you're not going to be as hot, you're not going to be as warmed up and as ready in terms of pure firepower and, you know, within your crosshair. But unfortunately, maybe they've woken up too late. It's going to be 5 versus 4 here. Making a 5 versus 3 as Hunter was taken down as well towards Arch. And this will leave Let Last Alive. This is going to be wrapped upon all angles.
Yeah, this is a bit of a dump. You know, put a fork in it. 5v2. Joxic and Nino can't find anything, but they're a mile away. If maybe they can knock these guys in, take a couple of guns away, that'd be ideal, but it's very unlikely. They've got a CZ, 1 bit of armor, smoke. Not too much to hold on to here, but yeah, overall for Valiance, they've certainly met their match now. It feels like if you saw how these rounds have won, it's a very curious thing, isn't it?
It's the terrorist side. This is the thing for both teams. Not only are you going to be stronger on your tier side if you're Epsilon because you choose the duels, as in, you can go for those audacious faces with a lot less risk, obviously. If you, okay, this is another thing as well, right? If you are a team like Epsilon where duels and firepower is so crucial, if you push and go a bit crazy, right? Think about Smooya. When he got that 1 frag in apartments. If you go 1 for 1 on your T side, it's far better than when you go 1 for 1 in the CT side. A lot of the times you argue a 4 versus 4 or 3 versus 3 is in favor of the T side. The reason being is obviously the CT side have to spread themselves thin. You know, you might be a 4 versus 4, but actually it's 2 towards A and 2 towards B, essentially a 4 versus 2 when you go towards that site, right? So if you have a playstyle where it's all off individual skill, individual plays essentially across the map, going 1 for 1, you actually gain your team an advantage on the T side. But when you flip it over to the CT side, you can't take as many risks. Not only is your CT side defense and your roster spread thin across the 2 sides, but also money isn't quite as affluent on your CT side. And yeah, the economy is just so fragile that it's harder to take risks.
Absolutely is. So let's have a little look at who's doing well this game, at least frag-wise. Joxic and Smooya, kind of those 1
2 AWPers, you would have thought on Inferno. Then again, actually, T-side Inferno is hard to really find impact with the AWP.
Oh yeah, there's no disputing that. You can't give them too much grief if they're not finding everything there. But we're starting to see these guys suddenly step in.
Yeah, I mean, when you're AWPing T-side as well, it is hard to find presence because if you're not given that, okay, not given the frag, but if you're not challenged, I mean, you peek towards Arch, peek towards Quad, you peek Banana, right?
It's like, well, that's my done.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't make much more happen.
But then again, that is the role of the AWP sometimes on the terrorist side, you know.
Yeah, you got to hunt it out, right?
Yeah, not hunt it out, but also take map control. Using the AWP to get map control, obviously, go for those peaks. Even if you find no one, great. You've got top Banana control, and you have top mid control. Ooh.
Yeah, the pace coming in now from Epsilon. They're starting to warm this one up. Maybe feeling a little bit confident. That's a lot of utility and a lot of money taken away from Joxic, and that's the heavy hitter gone. Such
a great call as well from Robin to go for the Arch wrap. The reason being is Epsilon know there was 3 players at the start of the round towards Banana. And if you remember, on the last half, I said you counter 3 Banana if you're the T side by running up Arch fast. And there you have it right on your screen. As an example into the second half here. Epsilon, they make the call, there's 3 towards B. Robin says rush up Arch, and they counter the early setup from Valiance.
Really good stuff. It's basically save time for Valiance. There's very little you can do. Retaking towards A is just as implausible towards B.
It's so difficult.
Playing retakes on this map is vile. The off-plan situations you can put yourself in on the T side with a couple of members is phenomenal, especially if you can get players in towards pit and one towards the mini pit as well. Like wherever you sit, that the entire kind of side of there can be one of the strongest positions. I would say with B as well. You get 3 players in a good spot on B, it's almost impossible to retake.
Yeah, I mean grenades are so important when you're retaking that B bomb site. You know, all it takes is 1 smoke to smoke off the whole of Banana, right? 1 Molotov to flush out the back boxes, and essentially they can only be emo or they can be pool. If they're not pool or emo, they're behind the smoke towards Banana, or they're mollied out anyway from your Molotov, right? So if you don't have utility when you're going for the B retake, it's an incredibly difficult task to try and, you know, undergo.
I'd love to see the actual statistics overall of, like, let's
Quite
say
hard to
tier
find,
1 teams. Let's say if you just put in that band. If someone wanted to take the time to do it manually, dear Lord, you're a saint. But I mean,
there's people out there that like that torture.
They absolutely love a bit of it. And let's see if the confidence is still going to stick with it. At the very least, with Epsilon setting the pace so high and with such aggression, Valiance have to use their utility early to try and deny this. Whether or not Epsilon actually go for it. The fear of it alone should be forcing these players to have to use it, which we're seeing here. Smokes are up, mollies are up, nades are up. And Nino's trying to get a bit of play into this one. Got to be careful. He's already down to 16 and actually does not all that much back towards the T side.
Minute 20 left on the clock here. So far, a very standard default coming up from Epsilon, which is surprising to see. Usually we're expecting to see group style of CSs where they're close netted together so they can pay for the trade frags, get the early kills. And actually, I believe Nemi could be able to see ahead if he's lucky, if the boost comes in. Poor timing here from Robin. Or not. Or not. Anyway, 5 versus 4 now all of a sudden, just leaving Neno last alive as he is smoked off. 16 HP, probably not going to be able to find any success here.
He's going for a wander through that smoke though. He's tried his best. Didn't go quite to plan, and this might again be the 3-man save coming out. They're really not having much luck in this.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is as well, it's so important you have 3 players saved. The reason the difference is so important between 3 or 2 players saving is because when you have the max round loss bonus being 3,400, an M4 costs 3,100, so if you save, you have enough to drop over. Obviously, if 2 players survive, they can only drop 2 guns. There's 3 players that need weapons. So if you drop only 4 M4s, 1 player's going to have to take the hit, maybe a UMP and full utility. So then you're having 4 M4s, a UMP, not really the best buy. If you save 3 players, obviously only 2 more players need drops and 3 players can drop. So it makes sense, right? You have a 4 buy, even get an AWP as well. If another player has cash, you can see Hunter has $2,400 anyway, so you can now drop over an AWP to Joxic. So let's see if they can actually keep 3 players.
Hunter desperately trying to keep hold of this and let as well. They do manage to keep him alive. Kind of surprising how close the Epsilon guys were to that. Yeah,
and it's the small things as well, you know, the little details, such as 3 players surviving versus 2, having the UMP instead of the AWP, that can really make the difference here and be the deciding factor.
But look at the money now sitting on Epsilon. We've actually got a game on our hands here. They've got great money sitting beside them. They don't have to worry about they can get utility up all the time here, at least for a good long while. And Valiance have met their match. We saw the 2 very contrasting styles working just as viably on this T side. So again, exciting stuff. No real changes coming out from Valiance yet. Again, maybe just kind of struggling for ideas of how to kind of deal with this. But they're going to have to come up with something, otherwise they're going to get run over here.
Yeah, if you remember as well in the preview, I said there's going to be a skill discrepancy between these 2 teams. That's why the T side's going to basically show both of the team's strengths. On the T side from Valiance, you're going to see how they can utilize their tactics, which they use to make up their lack of aim. And the complete opposite for Epsilon. On their T side, they can exploit their aim.
At the moment, Hunter's striking the first blow to Surreal. Might be the first real hindrance we've seen thrown at Epsilon early game, at least. And with the fact that now Valiant still have utility, this could be a trickier round unless one of these players on the T side can have those, you know, one of those Epsilon moments. We need to see Cosmin landing maybe one of those shots that open up, you know, huge opportunities. And it looks like maybe a little bit of a look towards Mill here from Smooya. This could be very big. This could be the start of something great. Joxic, though, is on the other side, playing, I wouldn't say passive towards CT Arch, but holding back a little. Not playing the angle. He's going to go for a look now. Smokes up.
Smooya tagged down to 22 points of health, trying to see if he can go for the fake. Important as well, they send the AWP towards the A bomb site. The reason being is, a lot of the times, if the AWP is there, the rest of the site is, the rest of the team is as well. Obviously, he made noise scoping in. He wanted to try and make a ruckus.
This should be on the checklist. It's not, apparently. No one looked for that. They double-faced towards, I guess, Nubox at this point. Joxic desperate to get into this. You know these guys are going to be low, but Smooya's watching it. Nina already goes down. Joxic tries to get in there quickly, but gets denied. Hunter, though, trades in well. It's a 2v3. It sits well with Valiance for once, but Cosmin and Smooya, heavy hitters now. Down low on HP. Oh, it's Hunter again, and there it is, cleaned up. Cosmin goes down. And a desperate situation turned worse here. 14-11. Epsilon shown that they were right back into this. And suddenly, there it is, torn away at the very last hurdle almost. Surely they can build back in, though. Surely this is just a hiccup that can't stop them mentally.
This could actually be a blessing in disguise, being blessed with a curse in this.
Are you going to try and play the reset card here? Are you giving me that?
Of course, of course. 2 players surviving for Valiance, 2 players aiming to drop, 1 player to go for the fun investment as well. The money's going to be fairly sparse. What's so funny?
I love it. Silver lining.
Hey, someone's got to play the nice guy.
What, on Epsilon's side?
Potentially. 14-1, 3-round deficit going forward. This is going to be potentially the reset going forward. If the reset happens as well, 14-12, Valiance are forced to go for a force by potentially. 14-13, then in Eco, we could be seeing a 14-14 scoreline, all squared up if Epsilon can try and claim this round number, oh god, 26.
You went for on-air math. That's brave.
Quick maths, mate.
how old does that mean? I mean, like, really? All right, 14 to 11.
I feel like if I don't reply, it makes you look even worse.
It makes me look worse.
Potentially.
How
Are you,
does this...
are you not down with the kids, Big Man Shaq?
I think those kids who are down with it now are like 45. I mean, it's not exactly a fresh and spicy meme, but this is going to be here. It's 5 players all in against only 2, bear in mind. They haven't cheated a player over early. Joxic's on the way, but it's Nemi, and I'm pretty sure it's Nino here to hold it. But actually, there's a hold. There's a hold here from Epsilon. They haven't fully hit just yet. They could still back away, but they've used a lot of utility. They have none left beyond this, so it would be dry hits after that. But that's a great shot from Surreal. Any trade off the back, if it's a 2-for-1, that's good enough. Smooya finding Nemi, that's the site clear, but the rotate is in there. But can the retake happen again?
My goodness. It's the... oh, goodness. Actually, a great shot there from Smooya. Goes for the wide face towards Joxic. We'll take the challenge. I was about to say they have a great after-plant position so they don't have to peek. And, of course, Smooya does the opposite of what he's supposed to do.
Well, this time it works out. Bear in mind, last time it didn't work out and it cost them the round. So,
Yeah,
I mean...
I was about to say they've got a great setup. They just have to hold in towards Pool, hold in towards Banana. You've got the player as well towards Emo. They can't lose. And then Smooya goes for the face against another AWPer as well. You know, not really textbook Counter-Strike going for a peek against another AWPer. Holding the angle, but then again, online Counter-Strike is fueled by confidence. 14 to 12 as the reset, as predicted, thank you very much, comes through. 14 to 12, and now for Valiance, if they go for the force buy as well, Lauren, we could be seeing a 14 to 14 scoreline as long as Epsilon don't let it slip versus the quasi buy or the force buy. Everything's a buy.
All right, we'll see how this goes. We've got a decent purchase, of course, for Epsilon. They had an absolutely brilliant bank brought up here. Valiance, again, it always feels
Double
that
eco.
it feels though once you get to that 14, 15 rounds, again, that final round is always the hardest to get. But it's so far been Epsilon really putting on a display for us on this T side. I think it does talk a little to the level of qualifiers, that it does always feel that T sides work better than most teams to a degree.
Yeah, potentially. Potentially. Can we actually see the money, if that's okay, Observer? If it's not too much, well, thank you very much. So, round last bonus has been reset. They got 1.4k for losing the last round. They're going to get $1,900. I think they can actually buy next round here. You're going to have, what, $3,900 there for Hunter. Joxic's going to be able to afford an op as well. He's going to have $5,600. So this could actually be a 4 rifle buy. Sorry. 3 M4s, maybe a Fan Master UMP, and also an AWP as well if Joxic goes for AWP, Kevlar, Flashbang.
But I don't know if they're a team that likes to go for the slightly more on the cusp purchases.
I agree, yeah.
I'm curious to see if they go for it. Maybe, you know, it's the ditch attempt or something that could get them back into this.
But also, if they take that risk as well, if they lose that round, you know, they could be facing match point 15 to 14 if they lose it.
No, it is all about that risk management and will they go for it or not. We're going to be seeing a bit of a hit towards A this time, it seems, for now, at least. Sacks over towards Banana, but maybe just holding the push. But at the moment, Hunter not going to be landing anything too spicy here, as Cosmin already strikes towards left. This should be a nice cleanup. There shouldn't be too much threat here. They're doing well. They're just kind of going through the motions. No one really in too much threat at this point. Cosmin did go down, and that's a nuisance, but it's not the biggest problem. But that's an AWP in the hands of Nemi, actually. That's a big pickup.
It is indeed. Obviously, we've seen the impact Joxic has had so far in this matchup. I believe he is top fragging here for Valiance. But unfortunately, it seems like everyone's gone cold or quiet, essentially, for Valiance in their second half on Inferno. They won their 1 round, but it was rather bittersweet as they were instantly reset, and now they could be facing the cusp of, 14 to 14 scoreline. And at that point, it's all push to shove, where boys become men.
Any other sayings we want to go through here?
Nah, that's cool.
Is that it?
Yeah,
You've locked them down. Lovely. They did take the AWP away as well. Pretty,
there is another one, but I don't know.
Oh?
No, I can't say it on here.
Oh, okay. We'll save it for later, after the watershed, you know?
What time is it? Yeah, we'll wait till 9 PM, that's fine.
It's internet time, it never really counts. We are seeing Valiance go for this. You kind of theorized that this could be a possibility.
Possibility. Oh, the force part? Yeah, exactly. And it's the same bar I thought. 3 M4s, UMP, and an AWP as well. Thankfully, they have the defuse kit. That is the crucial thing. One of the problems when you go for those sort of force buys, if you lack the defuse kit... Oh, actually, Smooya does find that frag on Joxic. So, 4 versus 4, as we are into round number 28, 13 to 14, as Smooya holds W all the way through CT, as he's trying to see if he can go for some sightseeing.
It's a little worrying now for Hunter. He can't overextend without Nemi clearing this out, and Smooya's, he's aware this could be a possibility, and maybe not aware. Maybe not aware at all. Maybe worried about Library. Maybe wondering where the other player from A's gone, but Patience is a virtue, and Smooya gets caught with his pants down. It's a 4v3. Zach's already low on 13. Nemi's going to strike to Surreal. This risky kind of investment, that kind of out characteristic purchase could be the defining factor here, and Nemi's become a bit of an AWP. Where's this come from? We didn't really see this potential. Joxic was the headliner, but now Zach has to deliver. It's a 1v2. He's got 50 seconds. And that's worrying if you know what GoTV does sometimes. But 13 HP in a dream. 2 players on CT Arch.
No utility here for Valiance. They can't just smoke the bomb, try and defuse through the smoke and have the other player try and get that frag. They have to go for the full commitment in terms of the face and the duel. And CT5-1 has to find the second as well, but a wide face coming out from Neno as he does find that last frag, 15-13. Now Valiance have 2 match points to work with.
Nemi did a bit of a play on that one, so getting those 3 kills was pretty imperative to this. And did that start with Smooya? I'm not 100% sure. I think it might
There was 1 frag towards Banana, and then in favor of Valiance, and then Smooya found the frag towards Arch on the Joxic.
And then he played up towards them.
And then he ran, God knows where, around the map.
He went full Smooya. But again, these purchases aren't phenomenal for Valiance. They're still a little bit here, there, and everywhere. This time around, 2 UMPs, they want the utility. Maybe because they feel the quick enough pacing to come in, whatever it may be. The Banana control that came out as well from Valiance there was the first time we saw that real kind of back and forth contest. Where was that?
Surprising as well to see Valiance to go for such a risky play.
It looked like Let was all over the other side.
I think he was trying to go for towards second mid apps fast, yeah, potentially.
That must have been a good spawn for Smooya as well to be able to stop that too. So working well, but Smooya is hitting shots. He's starting to really feel out this game on the T side with an AWP. That is always impressive. And an early man advantage, exactly what the doctor ordered for Epsilon.
So now we see getting that first initial frag on the T side. The opening frags, the entries are so crucial because look at how spread thin the CT defense is. 2 towards A, 2 towards B. And now for Epsilon, you just group together, you utilize or exploit the fact you have the man advantage. You play essentially a 5 versus 2 on towards this B bomb site. Unless Valiance get information towards mid, they spot no one's towards mid, and they rotate an extra player towards B. Otherwise, this should be 15-14.
Don't see them stopping this. And then he goes off. It's not going to happen this time. No AWP to be seen. No taking down Smooya. Joxic, not a chance. Smooya this time holds onto it. 2 kills for him, and they've been big kills. Now they're going to find at least Smooya. Keep him on his toes. 2 players a little low on HP. That's 2 kills now coming in. Cosmine on that late play, though. Did Hunter hear that? No, I don't think he did. So that's kind of the, I guess, safety net. That should mean that you don't expect to play from that angle. The 2 on the site, if they fall, I doubt it's going to come that far, but they're going for this Hunter. Oh, God, that nade's excellent as well. It's down to the 2v2. Cosmine is the last line here. And, well, I don't know what to say about this round. Surreal's holding on, and there it is. Cosmine comes in with a knife in the back, and that is now 1 round away from going to overtime here.
Let's take a look at what the money's going to be as well. Bare bones buy in the last one. And as Bardoff would say, they got pots and pans for this last round. 15-14. They got nothing, mate.
What does that mean? Why is it pots and pans?
Hey,
pots and pans are expensive.
Again, I've never lived alone. I don't know. This is the thing. It's life experience. That's what comes through in the cast.
15-14.
You all good?
I'm gonna take you down to a shop at some point and just make you purchase like tea foul pans and get you on like maybe some cups of tea. We're gonna take you through a lesson of how to be an adult.
Cheers, Mum. 15-14.
You're welcome, son.
Gosh, that sounded weird. 1 minute 20 left on the clock as well. Is this going to be the AWP for Smooya? Who else would it be on? It could be Surreal, actually. Who knows? But it will be the fully fledged force buy here. Diffuse kit for Joxic, but no AWP, unfortunately, for him. This is going to be a disparity in terms of the firepower between these 2 lineups. And also in terms of the manpower, as Smooya finds the first.
2-2 on either site now. Hunter. Oh. Horrific play on that one. The guy's been great so far. He looked like the king of apps, but that aim was a little bit.
The king of apps.
It was a little bit off. He's had a rough game, all right, on the CT side. It's been tough. But we'll see if anything can come from this. Nino playing on the very verge of that smoke, but with his teammate already backing away, he's very much alone here against the entirety of Epsilon. He might just use that smoke as the go point. He's going to flash himself in off the tree.
Oh dear. Poor time flash there. If it was only a few seconds delayed, could have connected. Instead, actually, will be tied under 5 HP through the smoke, but here comes the hit. 5 versus 2. We're going to overtime. This is bad luck here. We had no overtime. All of the qualifiers. Your first game here in Poland. And welcome to OT.
Wait, are casters stopping to pretend that we all love overtime in open qualifiers?
Oh, what incredible matchups! Wow, so competitive.
Don't do this to me. I can be honest. I mean,
Hit with reality.
the thing is as well, normally the difference is, right, if you get those games where overtime is the most exciting thing, it's not because one team is dominating on one side. Because the problem is you've essentially had two very one-sided halves.
On the terrorist side, but yeah.
It feels very hard to kind of get behind the momentum. It's not swings and roundabouts, it's not back and forth. We saw a couple of insurgencies, or I guess moments from Valiance that looked okay on the CT side. Their T side was phenomenal. And Epsilon just, finally woke up, finally had that firepower going. But beyond that, it's been, a bit of a steamroll either way.
Yeah, which team has had the worst CT side essentially? Which team concedes the most rounds on their CT side defense? As we now just sit tightly and we wait for players to have a quick break.
Why do they need a break?
Toilet.
Stop it. What's wrong with your bladder? Is this a young person thing? I thought it was for the old people.
I need the toilet right now, fair enough. If I was playing, I'd go to the toilet right now.
Kids these days. Tiny bladders.
Oh, I can't finish that one. Anyway, we're going to be going into OT. And who
Eventually.
Eventually, soon.tm.
So wait, this game could go on the space of 2 games. So we could just jump right into the final game. You realize that? Do you know what the time is right now?
Still, pre-watershed.
Yes, so we can't go full honesty.
Exactly.
But if it gets, 9 o'clock?
In England,
kind of
so 10 o'clock in Poland. 10 o'clock in Poland, yeah.
Wait, is it an hour ahead here?
Come on.
No, because I came from Cologne, so let me check.
Cologne?
Cologne. No, because Cologne's an hour ahead of...
England, yeah.
Yeah.
But so is Poland, no? See, now you've got me paranoid.
But it's 8:30, so if this goes till 9, we kind of leapfrog a bit.
Yeah, but watershed is English, no? That's what I mean. It's an English thing. Went for the English time, that being 10 p.m.
Yeah, from Germany, there's nudity all day. They
they are.
It's German TV. Like they love a bit of. There's spicy people out there on TV.
Spicy indeed.
Why do you sound disappointed in me? And nudity on TV. What do you have against it?
Wait. How did I sound disappointed? I don't know.
You sighed. There was an audible sigh. Everyone heard it. I really hoped you hit the wrong button there. So if you have ever been to an event or seen any commentators, we have cough buttons, so we can make this noise. So that sort of thing, right? We hit a button, it stops us talking. Sometimes they don't always work. Sometimes you have faith in them and you end up coughing up a lung, saying something terrible, trying to talk to a stage manager, please help me, I need a drink. These sort of things. He put full faith in that, and I like the dedication. It's a risky play.
What can I say? Full faith in ESL. Don't you have that?
Absolutely. I'm a company person.
Still waiting, of course, for the Counter-Strike to ensue.
Do you reckon people were like, oh, this is a really weird cast? Third-person free cam only going, talking about...
CGS all over again.
CGS, boys. All right, let's have a little look at the bracket, actually. I'm going to see where we're at right now. If you don't want to, let's see who's been doing what. If I can work out HLTV. It's quite tricky, obviously. I bet this is the only game that went to OT as well. I reckon every other game,
so far in the qualifier, this is the first OT game we've had.
That you've had, or that actually happened?
The stream, yeah, the whole stream.
Okay.
Whole 2 weeks have been here. I've been here.
It's because I bring the very best Counter-Strike to the forefront. Just T-side only, of course. The best T-sides. That's my jam. Okay, so it does. So we've already got other games being played out right now in the next
Yeah, that makes it a little bit tricky, doesn't it?
Sprout did go through. Are we live? This looks live.
Oh, hello.
All right, so double up on the CT side. It will be Epsilon starting on the T side, but the one difference in OT, we do see Valiance now having money. That does make a big, I say big change. It means they get the double ops out.
A big thing as well here for Epsilon is the fact that they're starting the T side. We've already seen from both teams 13-2 halves on their terrorist side. So when you start on your favourite side on the first half of OT, if it does go 13-15, for example, all it takes is one mistake from Valiance on the second half, and you could be running away with the upset win. Double upset, though, coming out from the likes of Valiance, as you said before. Obviously, the 2 ops countering the style of play from Epsilon. They're not going to be execute-heavy, utility-focused. There will be gaps in their play, and you take hold of those gaps with the ops, essentially. Take advantage of it, find those first frags, get out the contacts. The only issue is obviously the retakes. Retaking A is incredibly difficult if players are playing the headshot angle towards default.
I have to say as well, look at the retention of utility here. The CT side are holding on to this. They haven't... You held the cough button and then went...
Funny.
Excellent work. But the point is that they're holding on to this quite late, and I quite like that. It's showing a bit of discipline here. Whether or not they just get overrun, because we know that Epsilon do the dry peaks, they'll just go in for it, and you hope they trade off the back, which they had been doing on the T side. Now we're going to see utility being used. That's going to cut off the player from Apps, or at least it should do. Boost comes in for Smooya. The shadow shows, though. This could be deadly. Nice adjustment from Joxic. He doesn't just fall full force into hoping that peak comes through from Smooya, but he knows the AWP's there. He knows at least another player's now in this position. They could cheat that additional Nano back over towards CT Arch quickly, which they're doing. But Robin breaks back in. This is good work. They have some sort of step now towards that quad side. Cosme now comes in. Joxic absolutely whiffs it, but time, 9 seconds.
They haven't realised.
The bomb.
They haven't realised.
And they just need to stay alive on the CT side. There's no chance this bomb's going to be planted now. Surely not. No! Absolute disaster in the end. What the hell just happened?
I don't know. Kalat came through. Unfortunately, we didn't see it there from Neno.
Where was he?
It might have been even through the smoke if he was playing towards mini pit. Has to be, essentially, yeah.
Sorry, he couldn't have been in pit. He couldn't have been in apps. He couldn't have been in.
Yeah, it had to be through the smoke towards mini pit, towards Arch. Thing is, as well, you saw the disbelief in Epsilon. Maybe that's the communication thing we spoke about when you have such an international lineup. Is 8 seconds left. Bomb was dropped towards. The bomb was dropped on default as well. You had one player in towards quad, one player in towards the pit. They didn't have time to retrieve the bomb, get it down. Well, they did if they did it straight away, no hesitation.
Maybe,
right?
yeah. But that's, as you said, that comes either with time from team chemistry or playing together so long you just kind of slip into that.
Or just panic. Maybe it was hectic comps.
Yeah, absolutely. It really could be. But I don't know how long we can give teams that kind of excuse of the language barrier, because we're seeing so many now, I guess, universal teams coming up towards the forefront. We're seeing a lot more of them breaking through. You look at the FaZe roster, you look at a lot of the others that can now kind of operate on that level. I don't think you can kind of completely depend on it. And especially a lineup like Epsilon, who I guess are your kind of mini FaZe to a degree, right? Firepower there that depends on it heavily. Not as strategic as maybe some others, but again, FaZe are that kind of perfect balance. You can't really say that.
I feel like you could put a lot of that, or the difference in terms of recent Counter-Strike history, before it was so taboo to have, international lineup. Like everyone played with their domestic friends, right? The domestic teammates, right?
Yep.
But I feel like with the addition of FPL, all the players playing together in English, you sort of laid a staple of consistency of speaking English. Players learn English, they learn English call-outs as well. And the initial barrier to speaking English was lessened.
Yeah, and speaking of things changing, we're seeing a CT side possibly being strung together here by Valiance. It's the first real kind of dominant start, I feel. The last round was kind of depending on a double kill that came through a smoke, so I'm not going to put complete credit into that one just yet. Of course, it worked out, but at the end of the day, this could still swing in Epsilon's way. But look at the time left, 10 seconds here. They're leaving it so late again. Oh, that's a disaster. Surreal gets beheaded. Perfect play from Nemi, but you're leaving yourself 10 seconds. You're expecting to hit every single shot the moment you get in there with nothing to go wrong, with no information. That's a very scary bit of play and perfect for the likes of Valiance. And a bit of a disaster for Epsilon. They've grounded back this far. They've come this far, and then they've just let it slip.
One of the advantages you can have on being on the T side is you dictate the pace, right? You choose when the executions happens.
Yep.
You decide the duels, essentially, unless the CT side aggression comes through, but it's a lot rarer, a lot harder to pull off. It's weird that Epsilon are starting to play in the ballpark, in the core of Valiance. They're playing Valiance game of playing slow, playing methodical, and you're going to be losing that matchup if you are going to try and, force that style of Counter-Strike onto a team like Valiance. This is what they want to do. So, are we going to be seeing the early peaks coming out from the T side? We saw the aggression from Smooya just peeking towards Arch, running up middle on the first half, and where is that now when his team needs him?
But when you get to overtime, it suddenly feels a bit serious, doesn't it? Suddenly gets a bit like, well, should I be running up middle? I know that sounds ridiculous as he's able to do it, but OT feels very different. They've got money, they've got utility. This could be different though. His AWPing has really surprised me. What was that timing on that? Did they hear? I don't know if they heard steps. They might have done, or they might have just lobbed one down there, but excellent timing on that. Robin going away gives away the game a little bit as well here. Even though they didn't have information towards A, you kind of start getting a feeling, okay, there's probably more players to follow this, especially with these flashes coming through.
Boost coming out for Smooya. We'll actually spot out Nano playing in towards Emo, so they can Molotov it, or they can just run through the smoke and peek it, which they will. But here comes the eventual commitment here from Epsilon, and somehow it might actually be paying out.
Smooya is the lightning before the thunder right now for Epsilon. He goes in first, he gets the job done. They do get the bomb plant. We've seen his aggression in these after plant situations that has been very unorthodox, very unique. And we'll see if he can do it again. Surreal waiting to be played in. He's going to be sitting down towards the pit there. They've actually vacated the site completely to a larger margin. Of course, they can watch the play back in. That's not the issue, but Smooya, it's a dangerous angle to be playing. 2 players. Flash comes in, reacts well, but doesn't spot anyone out. He gets Flash and he reacts accordingly. There he is, coming back in. Let goes down. He wants more, though. 2 players remain. The reload comes out. Joxic will be given the angle on this, at least. And they're going to double peek. Smart work comes in. Great stuff between Cosmin and Smooya. Not allowing a second for that to go wrong, but it did come down to those last couple of moments.
That defuse was so close to actually going through and being the 18-0 for Valiance, but instead 16-17, and unfortunately it seems for Epsilon as well, considering how strong of a T-half they had, only able to muster up the courage to find 1 round on their T side. You could argue as well it could have been 2 if there wasn't for that crazy double through the smoke. Yep. Now then, 17-16, which means Epsilon have to win all 3 rounds on their CT side, which is less rounds they won in the regulation. Only got 2. If they want to find 19 here, they need to win all rounds of the second half of OT. Otherwise, for Valiance, it's just 2.
So, who are you going to put your money on?
Valiance. Easy.
Yeah?
Because this is the thing, right? You saw the difference when Epsilon
you're
got
going
to...
to put £1 on it. £1.
Put 1 zloty on it. There you go. Keep it culturally referent. Oh,
God. Oh, God. It's all falling apart. Oh, dear. Well, yeah, we'll put a zloty on it. I'll go for Epsilon just for the fun of it.
Are we even allowed to bet on these games?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No. It's all pretend. But Hunter's doing what Hunter does best, and that is being a nuisance through apps. And you can see Smooth is well aware of this being a possibility. He has been a true pain in the ass. Now, the problem is that even if you hear him in there, you don't know if it's going to be that A hit, but look how close they are to this hit. That looks like probably 2 players lining up that smoke. Bit of a spam through the smoke. Going to force Smooya away, but they can ready themselves. They've got good information on Banana that no one's there. A quick rotate should be coming out. Smooya's forced back now to play at the back of CT Arch. Spam comes out from Tizak, just going to be looking for maybe someone to be walking into it. But again, Molly's come out, they're taking the time, the hit comes in, Robin's flash, Zach is flashed as well, but good counter flash is coming in. Robin now comes back round in time. This is a nice crossfire, it's holding well for now. Back and forth we go into a 2v2. It's Surreal and Cosmin. Cosmin has been a great last man standing in these situations as well, but Joxic and Let have to stop him. They didn't expect him this close at all. He's done brilliantly.
Has to wait now, he needs to wait for the backup from Surreal. Actually, a gap in the smoke as well will allow Surreal to come in from behind, find the frag onto Let. Easy headshot there of the USP. Very disciplined plays and very good to see from Cosmin. He finds the first frag in the 2 versus 2, makes it a 2 versus 1, doesn't overface and make it a 1 versus 1, leaving Surreal with an AWP walking through a smoke. Instead, he stays alive. He keeps the attention from that last play. I believe it was Let on towards A, and obviously from behind, Surreal found that frag. 17-17, Epsilon now. All tied up as we go forward into the second half of first OT. Obviously, for the viewers at home, it's 1st-19. If it does go 18-18, we'll be sent to double OT, and the game would continue.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, it would. But to be completely fair, though, this OT has been probably more competitive head-to-head round-wise than the entirety of
much
regular
better
time.
Counter-Strike. You see,
the brand
Epsilon,
is much better.
Yeah, exactly. Epsilon are much more warmed up in terms of how they were firing on their CT defense in the first half. You saw they were basically not under the weather. We're still looking to describe this one. Not ready for the likes of Valiance. But still, 1 minute 20 left on the clock. It will be banana control coming out from Valiance.
Do you need a banana? We've got a couple over there if you want some potassium.
Ah, good holding.
Sorts you out.
Could do. Definitely between these 2 games. But yeah, banana control now for Valiance. They can leave 1 player here towards B, go back towards middle. But then again, you could argue you could leave Hunter alone to sell the fake. If he smokes out Arch, flashes towards middle, makes noise as well towards apartments, he could try fake as if there's 2 players there. Obviously, 1 towards mid, 1 towards apartments.
Are they going for the double stack there, or are they just going to boost up Cosmin? Surely they've just boosted him up. Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually quite similar to when Robin was boosted up towards quad. It's a very exposed angle. It's very hard to get more than 1 frag here. As soon as you find the first frag and it's called, easy to trade. But
it's very hard to get headshot up here, if I'm completely honest. If you sit at the very back of it, you can fall back instantly and stand up and you can't get headshots. It's a nice position to fall back away from. Surreal's looking a little bit worse for where 1 nade would put him down, but luckily for him, they don't have it. They do have a Molotov though, but he's still worth his weight in gold. This hold is brilliant from Epsilon. Real back to the wall holding of the site, but they do get it done. The big swing factor here is Hunter. Late play coming through from A. If Nino can hold on from Banana, we're going to see Tizak pushing up. This could still be very interesting. He sadly cannot. And now with 9 seconds left, it looks like we're going to be seeing Epsilon swing this one right back around into their hands. I doubt Hunter's will be able to do something magical, and he is not. It is looking incredibly good for Epsilon here. That's my money. Do you remember the zloty we put on this?
Oh, you put money on Epsilon?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I won't need it in a few days. You can have it.
All right, Mr. Rich. Yeah? Mr. I get paid in a few days. Is that what you're implying? Disgusting. Disgusting. How could you? Oh.
No, I meant the money's worthless because I go back to England.
Yeah, I understood that.
Cool. Anyway.
Your face was just like, Christ. Right, final. Ooh, Smooth has gone down already. That's a big loss, actually, to come into this one. Epsilon could have really done with him being up in this. He always feels like, you know, if you're in one of those impossible situations, you can you can vouch on or depend on him to do something good here. But he went for that early play towards Apps, and Hunter's having none of it. This guy has been a really consistent factor, but good work from Surreal to push himself down a little further towards Banana. It loosens up the play from Cosmine, who can now swing over towards A. He can hold it, I guess, a little bit more passively towards CT Arch. Watch the push through. It's all very possible, but Valiance here, not going to let this one go clearly. This could be double OT.
Smoke coming in as well to warden off the default. This might actually allow for Robin to hold such a great position in towards the single box. You have 2 players already on towards default, and a third as well through the smoke. That's Cosmine.
Back now up above the smoke, just appears he gives the game away a little. Cosmine now gets swept away, and it's Robin and Surreal watching this crumble. Maybe Robin can do something. They're all there, but he can't make it count. Only one to go down, and Surreal just watches as his team crumbles around him. A 1v4 is looking near on impossible.
Has the defuse kit, but apart from that, an open this retake scenario, nearly impossible. Playing the headshot angle there as well. Such a hard shot to hit with the AWP, and as well because trying to land all those. Well, you shoot your AWP, got to cock it, and obviously within that downtime, someone could wide face, easily tradable. 18-18, double OT, and here we are.
It smells a bit like toast in here now. I don't know if I'm having a stroke
Maybe the
or
lights are
something,
burning us alive.
Yeah, maybe. It's very warm, if you guys can't tell. You can't, obviously, you're not here, but it is. It's quite warm. But how do you feel about double OT? Are you excited?
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Can you pretend? I mean...
Was I not?
I think you were so excited, it sounded unexcited. You know what I mean? Like, I need to get used to that genuine, like, I'm loving it. Because I was actually, to be fair, I wish that OT would have been in regular time. You know what I mean? Like, if that was an extended regular time, even if it went that far. But I mean... The OT, the competitive nature of it, and how the kind of 2 teams kind of faced up was way more exciting than the entirety of the regular time for me.
It is very true.
Which is quite sad. But, you know, online CS, open qualifiers, first round really. Well, first round for us.
First round was like
round for us.
512 or whatever it was.
First round of us, all right? It's the only one that matters, all right?
Yep, your round. 18-18 now. Let's see what's going to happen going forward. Once again, it's actually, I say once again, converse, it's going to be Epsilon starting on the CT side. Obviously, before they're on the T, we thought it was going to be the advantage. Actually, it's better the CT sides for overtime, as both teams finding 2 rounds on the CT side defense in OT. Orthodox play here from Epsilon. Not going to be sending 3 players early on towards Banana. Instead, actually, quite passive play towards Banana. Late smoke coming out. Nothing crazy just as of yet. Actually, an AWP sent towards apartments. We'll find the first frag. Hunter, as you said before, the king of apartments, has eventually been dethroned.
At last, it feels. Surreal having a bit of a go on this AWP and doing very well. He's actually spotted out another, showing a little bit of leg, gives away the game, but making his way up. It's going to be a bit of a... What? You make the mistake and then you bang that out, do you, Surreal? All right, you know what? Cool. I love it. Do you know what? That's what I like to see. More of that, please, and let's just get absolutely savage. For real. What is that? What is that? Why are you laughing with the mute button on? You're allowed to have fun.
No.
He's like, no fun allowed. So,
inside joke. More of that.
are you okay?
I'm good, I'm good.
I'm worried about
Let's see more of that, and some more of that. 19-18. So, Epsilon going to be starting off strong on the CT side. It seems like the double AWP setup did definitely pay its dividends. Surreal there with a massive 3K into that round. Actually surprised me. We haven't seen the double AWP setup earlier on from the CT side of Epsilon. Usually it's just the smear show in terms of the AWP. Smoke coming out towards Banana to deny early Banana control from Epsilon. We'll actually waste the smoke there. But actually through the smoke, Smooth on that frag onto Let. And now we see a 5 versus 4 potentially now for Epsilon to gain a footing into this matchup on their CT side. As before, if you guys have just tuned in, it was 13-2 at the first half.
Feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it does.
I'm really excited for that bolognese, though. That sounds pretty darn good.
The problem is, the place is already shut, I think.
Are you kidding me? How could this happen?
Do you want to just relay your order right now?
No, because this could be exciting. This could be fun. Because there's a very long rotate for Epsilon if these two can't hold on for a little bit of time here. The hit's going to come in, and there's Smooya, I was going to say last line of defense. He's just fine with Cosmine. These two just put up an absolute brick wall that Valiance could not break through. Perfect play from Epsilon there, keeping as many people alive as possible and absolutely decimating Valiance, who, as said, look, it looks like, it feels like a lifetime ago since they were actually able to really put up that very impressive T-side.
Think for Valiance now, if this does go 21-18, it will be 3 match points for Epsilon on the T side going forward into the second half of second OT. For Valiance as well, can they try and muster up the courage to have such a stellar CT side? I guess we're going to find out shortly as Smee will go for the reface while he's fully blind, but T-Sec's there to help him. And actually a trade of frags, and Robin with the remaining 2 leaves us in a 1 versus 2. Joxic now to try and fend off Cosmine and Cyril. Valiance, they need to find the final round. They have to go 20-19. If it does go 21-18, Lauren, 3 rounds in a row, 3 match points for Epsilon to try and seal the deal in double OT.
Joxic looking and merely finds the end of the gun as Cosmine is there. This is looking like Epsilon are done with this game. They want to be looking to the future, but you've got to feel they have slogged their way through this one. It has not been an easy matchup, and waiting for them is Sprout. So another good team just waiting in the wings if they do make it through this. So they are not having an easy time in the run.
That'd be a good game. That'd actually be a really good game.
I'm pretty sure it's the only game we're going to be able to watch because everything else is almost finished.
That is also very true.
We are stuck here. Help us. But do you see a world where Valiance can pull this one back?
On the CT side, no. If it was the T side, I'd say yes. Obviously, if they have an incredibly thought-out, methodical terrorist side where they can try and outplay Epsilon. It's very hard to outplay Epsilon when you're on your CT side because the sheer firepower coming out from the likes of Cosmo we've seen on the CT side, Smooth obviously on both sides. Robin had the last run as well. We had the big 4K to fend off the assault towards middle. It seems like it may be the Cinderella story for Epsilon coming back from a 13-2 deficit. But nevertheless, we know Epsilon like to throw some games when they get close. Not for any skin advantage or monetary advantage, just because they let things go when they get too aggressive and cocky. Now then, 18-21. What do you reckon here, Lauren? Do you think it's going to be triple OT?
I hope not. I'm hungry.
Hungry for good CS. I agree, I'm starving.
God. 21-18. Epsilon, I feel as they've woken up finally. It was a long time in the making. They certainly got kind of put in their place. Got a feel for a good long while by Valiance, who really did give them a fantastic game. They brought a brilliant brand of CS, but at this point it looks as though maybe they've run out of that, I guess, leeway time, that little bit of moment where you're not going to be seeing Epsilon in full force, but that's a great flash to play in Hunter, but he only manages 1. He does tag up others, and he does get the information. Now, Joxic and Let hold on to this. Smoke comes in, they adjust. And the bomb is adjusting as well.
Nemi rotating in from Speedway now, coming in towards CT spawn, and a well-timed rotation at that. Robin now trying to make his way through archers. Well, it's actually slipped in through CT here. He could cut off the rotations and be the defining factor to get 22 rounds for Epsilon.
2 ops still stand.
My goodness, there's 19 seconds left. They're just waiting for Robin.
This is really down to the wire. This is, again, no mistakes. Yes, you've got to go now. You can't actually slow down anymore. Robin, he gets there, but he wasn't the deciding factor. If they took that bomb down, that would have been done. Smooya just about gets the kill towards Neno, and now it's retake time, but it's on the cusp. It's a retake with an AWP, which is never ideal, and I don't know, unless Smooya just slow peeks you for some ungodly reason, which you see, look, he loves, he loves a bit of it, look at him.
He loves it, there you go.
He's back in again. Joxic does die to it as well, so who am I to judge what you're doing, Smooya? As Let now has seen it all. It's been a long time in the making, and it took a long run, but it was Epsilon in the end, managing to pull that from the very brink.
22-18, obviously, for Epsilon to come back in from a 13-2 deficit, so showing good mental fortitude. They didn't mentally tap out. When they won that second off pistol, they thought, okay, boys, we're still in this one. We can still win this. We can do exactly what they did to us, to them. And basically a game with the T-sides in regulation. It seems like the teams woke up on their CT side defense in OT.